Welcome to Mr. Martin's High School Ag Mechanics class. Today we will be covering carburetors and the parts of a carburetor. First I will cover the types of carburetors. The most basic and the most common is the float type carburetor. And then we have the diaphragm type. And finally the vacuum jet type carburetor, or otherwise known as the suction type. I will now cover the parts and the operation of each part by showing you the float type carburetor, since it is the most basic. Let's move to the shop. We'll start at the intake of the carburetor and work our way through, starting with the choke. The choke is, I don't know if you can see it right here, back it up a little bit, this part right here, this flap right here, the throttle is your choke plate. Okay, how that operates is it regulates airflow into your carburetor. Alright, this lever right here opens and closes it. What that does is it aids in starting your carburetor. Okay, your fuel comes in right here on the side, right here. That's your fuel inlet from your tank. This is your fuel shutoff valve. Okay. This is a float bowl carburetor. I don't know if I said that already. This is your bowl of the carburetor. It actually sits like this. Okay. It's like a bowl. Holds fuel. Okay. I'm going to take that off right quick. Alright. And show you why it's a float bowl. Okay. That's your bowl. Alright. Pretty basic. Okay. And that's your drain screw on the side. And this is your float, this white piece right here. Okay. What that does is, as the fuel comes in to the carburetor, it rises and seals off that inlet for the fuel. Okay. It does that with a needle right here on the back side. You can kind of see it in there. Raises up and shuts off the fuel flow coming into the carburetor. Okay. Flip it back over, a little easier to hold in. See that eyelet right there? There's one on that side, one on that side. That's where the fuel comes in and goes through the jet. Okay, and the jet is in this neck right here. Okay, I'll take that out right quick. A little difficult to get out sometimes. Alright. That's your jet right there. Okay, just a little screw looking thing. Okay, what it has is it's got a hole through the center. You can kind of see it. It's real hard to see. You can't really see the hole going through the center. It's usually on these stock ones it's a 28 thousandths of an inch hole, so it's really hard to see. Okay, from there your fuel goes up through the emulsion tube. This is your emulsion tube. Alright. There's a hole right here. That's where it meets up to the jet. Fuel flows through. Alright. They call it emulsion tube because you've got these little pinholes around the side. Kind of hard to see as it rotates. What that does is the air and fuel start to mix right there. And your air and your fuel will go up into the carburetor through this part. Okay, and that goes into your venturi. Alright, go over back to the carburetor and show you what the venturi is. Alright, if you look through the carburetor, you can see where it let me open that up. You can kind of see how it gets smaller there in the center. There's a smaller hole. That's your venturi, and what that is when you have a smaller area in a tube like that, it creates what we call a venturi. Operates off of Bernoulli's principle. And what that is it reduces your pressure, your air pressure, increases your air velocity, and in turn that pulls in that fuel up through that into the main body of the carburetor. Okay, to go into the head of the engine. All right. Your next part would be your throttle valve on the back, or your throttle plate. what your throttle plate is that part that moves in there. Okay, and that regulates your air and fuel mixture going into the carburetor. Okay, and the more open, the more go, the faster it goes. Okay, closed, it's at idle. All right, right here on the top you have a screw. Let's see. All right, this big round screw right here. That's your idle setting screw, and that just helps it idle. And you can set the different RPMs for it to idle at. Okay. Right below that, you have a low speed jet, and that's how much fuel. It regulates how much fuel it gets at an idle. Okay. Right here is your uh, air fuel ratio, or your air fuel mixture screw. The further it goes in, the leaner it gets, which means the more air it has and the less fuel it has. Okay, the further it goes out, the richer it gets. The more fuel it gets at an idle, and so forth. That's a basic carburetor. Thanks for watching today, and I hope you learned something about a carburetor. Thank you. She's as bright as the Dallas sky. She always